Hey guys, this is one of two inbox reviews I did promise during my, sum up of Telford. This is one of the ones I actually got a Wonderland model stand at a very bargain price of $9.99 from $16.99. So yeah, he had a ton of these there, and I was sort of umming and ahhing as to whether to get one, and I thought that'll blow it. If it's a limited edition, why not? So there you go. I've got another Spitz to add to the other Sport 4 Spitz I've got in my stash. Mind you, I haven't got a Mark 5, so there you go. Only reason I actually bought this one really was because basically it's got the unusual combination of one in a night fighter scheme. Now, I didn't know that some Spitz were actually in a night fighter variant, so that was quite surprising. So as of when I get around to building this, that's possibly the scheme I'm going to actually do it in, because it's quite an unusual subject. Funny enough, I am actually planning on getting the Defiant that they do in 1/48, the Night Fighter variant, so this will look nice alongside it actually. Or maybe even get a Night Fighter version of the Hurricane, but we'll see. Maybe that's another one that Airfix might reissue, I don't know, we'll see. We live in hope anyway. Anyway, as I say, normally you can't get these unless you're actually a member of the Airfix Club, because sometimes they bring out a range of specially limited edition kits for their members. Now, how Wonderland models managed to get a ton of these, I don't know. Maybe there were surplus to requirements at Hornby and they did a deal on them. Could have been, especially for Telford. So we will, well, that'll remain a mystery unless you actually get onto them at Wonderland Models and ask them. By the way, they're actually based up in Edinburgh, but they always attend Scale Model World every year. So if you're going there next year, guys, I would recommend you go to their stand, because sometimes they've got some absolute steals of deals there, and they certainly had a few this year. So yeah. Anyway, as you can see, you've got one of two variants. The first variant is the normal Camouflage Mark 5 B, which is all Sea Air Rescue 278 Squadron, which is based at Malsham Heath around about 1944. And then the one on the bottom here, which is probably more than likely the one I will build and actually do, is the Night Fighter variant of Treble 1 Squadron at RAF Debden around about December 41. So there you go. They obviously flew alongside the Defiance here, because I think they were based there as well. It's 1/48th, which is obviously a bonus, because that's the scale I tend to like doing aircraft in. I know it was the scale that my dad did and my Uncle John does. So there you go. Right, I mean, you got the familiar roundel in the background, and then you got your two subjects as a side view, Airfix Club, etc. You might be able to find one or two of these Airfix Club kits on eBay. So if you're looking for one, go on to the actual kit number is A82015. That's A82015. Okay. Now, whether Wonderland models have still got any of these left, I very much doubt, but it might be worth contacting them online to see if they do. On the side here, you've got the various guides, warning signs, etc. Don't eat it, don't do anything with it, basically. And then obviously you've got the same box art on the side there, and then the two variants that you can see on there, along with the history of the aircraft. And then obviously you've got Skill 2, it's a Skill 2 kit, and then obviously you've got the Humbrol colours there, which are issued by Hornby. But I will be using either Tamiya or some other brand of paint on this. Right, without further ado, in fact the box is still sealed, because I haven't actually opened it yet. So it's still fresh from the show, which was just over a week ago now. Don't seem like a week ago I was there. There you go. You wait all year for the show, and then all of a sudden it's gone in an instant. So there you are, and you're waiting another 12 months for it. And then it's another build up. Right, I've just had a look inside. You've got one big bag full of, how many sprues? 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 different sprues. And then obviously we've got the instruction sheet, which you got here. Again, same illustration there. I'll take the decals out of the way, just pop them over there. As you can see, again, you got a little history about that particular version of the Spit. As you can see, it's a club special limited edition. So if you want to get hold of these, I would suggest you join the Airfix club, which I must admit I am sorely tempted to do myself, because they do a range of these kits in 1/72 as well. So there you go. That's your two colour variants, as you can see here. Normal sort of pamphlet that they do now. Let's pop the box down on the side here. And just giving you the various information. It was 370 miles an hour, to a range of 470 meters or 760 kilometers. Wingspan was 36 feet 10 inches, length was 29 feet 11 inches, and the armament was 2 20mm cannon and 4 303 machine guns. Okay, so quite a heavy punch. You've got your various symbols, which you can see there for the construction. And first off, as you can see, is the side panels for the cockpit. You put the oxygen mask in there, throttle quadrants, etc. So there you go. Then the fitment of the actual cockpit seat and colour guide. You got the back panel there for the actual seat to sit on it. I would imagine that was something to do with the height or length of the adjustment of the seat. And then you got the back frame, including the back plate to protect the pilot. And then you add the seat to the back plate, assemble all the rudder pedals and the control column. There isn't a pilot in this, unfortunately, unlike the Tamiya kit. And then obviously you've got the control panel here with the target sight. And you've got one big decal to go on there for the control panel if you so wish. And then adding the rudder pedals and etc. into the cockpit interior. That's showing you the position there of how they should sit. Okay, and then you put the two halves together. What this is, I have no idea. So anybody who is a Spitfire aficionado, let me know. And then obviously you've got the blanking off point there for the cockpit tub. Seat goes in. Then you got another part, the actual rear part, the actual fuselage interior. It adds to the back plate. You do, oh actually, beg your pardon, you do have the option of putting the pilot in, but to be honest with you, with all that detail in it, that would spoil it, so I am going to bother. And then you put the tub onto the fuselage half, which you can see here. And it's showing you something or other. You'll cut one part off for one option of the kit. So I don't know what that's about. And then in order for the actual glazing to fit when you fit the canopy. Tub goes into the side, and you've got another oxygen bottle which goes over onto the back of the actual fuselage plate. And then you put two fuselage halves for the tub. Again, it's telling you to actually cut that off. I don't know why that... Oh, well, I suppose that's for the cockpit tub to fit. Oh, well. Or you have the added option of actually having the cockpit tub open, which I will probably do. Then you got the part of the nose cowling goes on. And then you're moving to the lower part, the wing casing there, obviously with the interior going in for the wheel hubs. You can drill a hole for a stand if you want to put it on a stand, and you can order those separate. I think there's an separate kit for the old Airfix stands that you can get from Hornby. Then you got the back looks like spar, which goes into the undercarriage bay. That's part of the landing mechanism which goes in, I assume. And then the rear spar goes into there as well. Upper part, the wings go onto the main wing. Wingtips go on. Fuselage goes onto the wing halves. And then the assembly of the rear elevators, as you can see there, and tail rudder. Okay. Right. Moving on. Then you've got the elevators on the wings. And obviously the lower part of the nose goes on, the mounting goes on there. and then you've got the air scoop that goes underneath as well as the assembly of the radiator there, which goes onto the wing, well, both wings. And then the rear tail wheel goes on. You can have this with the undercarriage up if you should so wish. That's if you've got it mounted on the standing flight mode. I will probably have it with the undercarriage down, as you can see here, with a wheel hub, tyre, main oleo leg, and a gear bay door. And then it's just showing the angle that they should be at. And then the pitot tube goes on as well, or airspeed indicator as it was known. Next thing is the twin 20mm cannon go on, and then obviously the exhaust stubs. Then you've got the assembly of the propeller and nose hub there, as you can see. Then you've got your target indicator, which goes in. Radio mask, I don't know what that was. Maybe that was a landing light, I'm not quite sure. And then obviously you've got the option of having the cockpit either closed or open, as you can see there. Now, why have you got two different versions? Maybe it's applicable to either version, I don't know. So there you go, and this is with it closed if you should so wish. And that is basically the assembly of that done. Okay, then you're coming on to the colour callouts. And obviously you've got the standard camo scheme of the time. This was obviously for the version of 278 Squadron at Martlesham Heath in 1944. With the ocean grey underneath, and then obviously you got the matte ocean grey, and obviously dark green with the medium sea grey underneath, and obviously the yellow at the wingtips. I must admit, it's quite an attractive scheme, but this is for a version with the stubbed wings, so there you go. And this is your night fighter version, which is probably the variant I'm going to do myself. It was actually flown by a night fighter, Sergeant Peter Durnford, a Treble 1 Squadron, Royal Air Force, Debden, Essex, England, December 1941. Maybe it was just an interim aircraft for the actual next fighter variant to come along, I don't know. It's not a lot known about night fighter version Spits, and to come across this is quite unusual, so it's a little something you didn't know. But it's overall matte black, as you can see there, same as on the Defiant. So there you go. Right, let's have a look at the crux of the kit itself. So I'm going to seal the bag, if I can find my scalpel. Where are we? Oh yeah, here we go. Let's unseal it. Take the screws out. First off, you've got the clear parts. Again, not a lot of distortion there by the looks of it. In fact, shall I take them out? No, I'm not going to take them out, be honest with you guys, because otherwise they'll get damaged. But as far as I can see, it's as clear as anything. There is a little bit distortion on the main part, the canopy there. But there you go. That's what you get. But the rest of it looks fairly clear. So obviously it depends on which version you're going to do. Yeah. Interesting. Looks like they got the Mark 1 front part of the cockpit. But there you go. There you go. Next up, you got the tub interior itself, and I have to say, the detail on that is absolutely exquisite. Even the wires and everything, it really is true to form. And even the control panel, which you can see there. Now, I'm not going to put a decal on this. Probably what I will do is dry brush it and then just put clear in the actual indicators and that, just to give it a bit of authenticity really. But it's beautifully moulded, and then even on the interior of the actual door, which you can see there, it's very accurately caught, so that will look nice with a bit of a wash. And even the tail rudder, they've caught the fabric effect on that beautifully. And you've got a choice of radio masts, so I suppose it's depending on which variant you're going to do. Tail wheel, very nicely done too. And there's your rear radiators. Again, you got the nice fabric effect on there. The elevators, sorry. And then you got the rear part of the actual crew skeleton, or actually no, that's the cockpit front part where the actual control column goes, I think. There are injector pin marks, but they're in places you're not going to see anyway, so it won't really matter. But again, nice level of detail. Next through, you got the fuselage halves. Again, you got the internal framework there. The tub will fit inside, and it won't matter about the injection marks, but nicely produced. Panel lines are exquisite, and even the actual bolt detail on the front where the engine bay is, it's very nicely caught. Beautiful. Right, coming up to the other sprue, you got your prop there, nice and clear and crisp. This is part of the internal workings, I don't know what it is. You got the front and back plates of the undercarriage bay there, nicely caught. Pilot, if you want to put him in, not bad, I have to say. Nicely actually moulded, nice level of detail there. Oxygen masks, oxygen bottles that you can see here. There's your rudder pedal, rudder control column. Nice detail on the gear. Well, you've got 2 gear bay doors, so again, it's obviously depending on which version you're doing. Your wheel hubs are nicely represented, beautifully done. And then obviously you've got your quadrant throttle levers, etc. Seat, which is nicely cast. If I can get it into focus, as you can see there, nicely cast. I've got some aftermarket seat belt things, so I'll probably use that for this kit. And then you've got your internal framework, which is nicely caught again. Radiator grills are nicely reproduced as well. Don't know if you can quite see that, but it's a nice level of detail there, you can actually feel it. Radiators there, again you've got 2 different variants for whichever variant you're doing, Night Fighter or the Air Sea Rescue variant. Air scoop, quadrants, which you can see there for setting the engine when you're starting it up, nicely reproduced. What else? Other lumps and bumps which you got on here. And the interior framework again for your throttle pedals, nicely done. Tyres are nicely reproduced as well. Is there a flat spot on them? No, I can't see one, so I may have to just sand them down. Rear back plate where your seat goes, and they're nice. And then you've got the headrest right here, very nicely reproduced too. And what have we got here? Oh yeah, you got your air scoops. This one looks like it was for a tropical variant, so maybe they were going to issue a tropical variant later on, I don't know. Again, you got some different air radiators. Wonder why they've got that there. Maybe they're going to bring out another couple of variants. Wingtips. I think this is part of the undercarriage, I'm not quite sure. And you've got a bomb here, so yeah, it looks like it's actually for a North African version, so that's interesting. And you got different prop nose there. There's your air scoop again for the bottom. That's interesting. Well, there you go, maybe they are going to bring out a desert version. And then finally you got the 2 wing halves which you got here, and they've actually got a desert version of the air grill, like the Trop version. So maybe they are going to bring out a Trop version of the limited edition range, I don't know. Because the 5B was actually used out in North Africa as well, so there you go. But again, exquisite panel line detail on the wings. Obviously you can cut the ends off, I don't know, if you're doing the stuck wing version. And underneath as well, it's beautifully reproduced. So this looks as though it's going to make a lovely, lovely kit. Right, I'm just going to pop all the sprues back in the bag. Like so I don't lose them. I have to say, Airfix has certainly come a long way. I mean, I did have the Douglas Sparta variant for the oh crikey, I think this was part of the Airfix Club range. Did bring out a version of Douglas Sparta's Spitfire MkVb, which I've sold on since, which I regret, so I might get that one back in again. That's that. So I've got that back in there and back in the box. And the final thing we'll look at is the decals. Nice, well, quite a nice matte texture. I don't know if they're by Cartograph or Airfix themselves, but I should imagine they'll bed down beautifully, and even got some of the stencils on there as well. So yeah. Now AB981, that number rings a bell. I wonder if that is the variant. They've got a Shuttleworth. I might be mistaken, but we shall see. But yeah, there you go. You got the Night Fighter variant for the Treble 1 Squadron, and then you've obviously got your 278 variant there as well, and a decal for the Control Palm. So there you go. And that is basically it, guys. I'm going to put these decals in this bag. Actually, no, I won't. I'll leave them in there as is. Yeah, not a bad looking kit, I have to say. I'm glad I bought it, and at the discount rate that I did at Wonderland Model Stand in Telford. If you can get one of these Fire Wonderland models at that rate still, I would heartily recommend you do. Other than that, you ain't going to get these unless you're a member of the Airfix Club, which they bring out now and again. So there you go. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. The next one I'll do will be the Trumpy Spitfall, and I shall do that in the next few days. So until then, get kit crazy, happy modelling, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers, bye.